For you who don't know me, I'm James. I'm 27, and I'm up here to publicly confess my faith in Jesus Christ, my Lord and Saviour, and to explain a little bit about how I got here. My journey starts with being the youngest of a family of 7. My parents have always been strong, committed Christians, and I was so blessed to be brought up with daily prayer and Bible reading. After raising 4 kids already, my parents thought they'd seen it all until I came along. I always had way too much energy and was very impulsive, and I always felt I had to push everything to the limits. By the age of 16, I had my own car, and with that car came freedom. I immediately stopped going to church. I started smoking and selling weed, and I had an urge to party. The next 7 years turned into a progressive non-stop bender. It didn't take long before I started using harder drugs to the point where I'd just take whatever was going around, and a lot too. By the age of 23, I started feeling the emptiness as the exhilaration started fading. So me and my then girlfriend bought a one-way ticket to Europe and stayed there for nearly a year and a half. I ended up getting engaged overseas, and I felt like I was on top of the world again. Once I was back home in Australia, a few months out from getting married, some devastating events occurred that ended my relationship with my fiancée of 6 years and the friendship with my best mate. My entire world collapsed in a single moment. I fell into a deep, dark pit of depression, but I really believe God was showing me a lot in that time. Life without God is life without love, hope, trust, without a future, and full of pain and darkness. My mates would only call me up to when they wanted me to come party with them, but I'd lost all drive and motivation for life. I lost all the people that called me brother for the last 7 years. I remember one day I was sitting in my room just by myself, depressed, and I looked over and I seen the Bible that my parents had given me. I felt compelled to pick it up and opened it to a random page. And immediately Ephesians 4:17 to 24 just caught my eye straight away. It says, "Now this I say and testify in the Lord, that you must no longer walk as the Gentiles do, in the futility of their minds. They have become callous and given themselves up to sensuality, greedy to practice every kind of impurity. But that's not the way you learn Christ. Put off your old self, which belongs to the former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires. And to be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and to put on your new self, created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness." That passage struck me like a lightning bolt, and it was quite obvious to me that that wasn't a random passage at all. About a year ago, my parents attended Bridgie. Actually, I think it was just before last shift. And at the end of the service, walking back to the car, Pastor Nathan chased them down, realising out of the whole congregation that it was their first time attending. That really blew Mum and Dad away. Nathan asked if was there anything they wanted prayer for, which is it's a focus that I really love about this church. They prayed for me to start coming to church and give my life to God. And as a testimony to the power of prayer, about 2 weeks later, Jerry, my mate from school, invited me to come along to Bridgie. I felt really out of place because of my past, but I really loved the worship, and every sermon really spoke to me. The more I came to church, the more hope there was getting out of the dark place I was in. I could really see God working in my life. I started meeting more people here, and the love and genuine interest people showed wasn't what I was used to. I was getting attracted to the light of God's love. I asked Jerry if he did any Bible study during the week, and to this day I feel blessed with the Connect group I'm involved with, and look forward to every Monday and Thursday night. Over the past year, I've really felt myself growing closer to God, but it was still a slow journey as I was still working through some struggles. But God had an ultimate plan, and He felt the need to speed things up. Last month, on the 15th of June, was quite an extraordinary night for me. My family got together to pray over a challenging situation we were going through, and at the same time, I'd blown the engine of my Hilux, and everything was looking impossible. But coming together for prayer was really powerful, and I had a real sense that all our needs would be looked after. When I got home, I went to bed that night and I started praying, but I couldn't stop thanking God for absolutely everything, down to the air we breathed. It was actually quite out of character for me. As I was praying, God gave me a vision. I could actually see heaven in the distance, and it was full of people singing praise and worship to God in absolute perfect unison, and it was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. I wanted to be there so bad, but separating me from heaven was a big black void of absolute nothingness. It was separating me from heaven. Then from heaven, I saw a golden flow, and it was like a river with no riverbed, coming straight down toward me and shining through the dark void. It came and it passed right through me, and as it passed through me, I was being filled with love and joy that was completely supernatural and can't be compared to anything of this world. As I was absorbing all this for a moment in complete awe, I was spoken to with very clear and direct words. You need to stop. Stop now. This didn't confuse me. I've been smoking weed every day for the last 12 years, and I didn't think at the time there was anything wrong with it, but it was immediately made clear to me that my reliance was absolutely in the wrong place. God continued by saying, people need to be saved, you need to be an example. My entire perspective of life changed in an instant, but at the same time I told God I was too weak to stop. The thought of stopping terrified me, and I started hearing whispers in my ear saying I'd never be able to sleep or think clearly or be relaxed. I'd always be angry and stressed. In that moment, the demon's influence of addiction was revealed to me and my eyes were open. I told God again I couldn't stop, but He told me, you know what will happen if you don't, showing me all the disobedience in my past, leading to hard, painful lessons. With all this, I started to accept what God was telling me, and from that moment I wanted to change my life. The battle got even more intense, but then I felt a presence of an angel above me, and in that moment I witnessed the authority of Jesus Christ, that Jesus Christ has over evil. This experience was way too much for me though, and I begged God to put me to sleep, and my eyes snapped shut in a second. When I woke up born again, a new person with a new spirit. Since that night, I was set free from all addiction and have devoted my whole life to God, and for the first time in my life I have real purpose and thank God every day for the life He has given me. And tonight, I want to be baptised to declare publicly my faith in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Saviour.